Well, if so, how do you sustain a business model in which users don't pay for your service?
Senator, we run ads.
I see.
In 2022, major social media platforms collectively generated over $226 billion. To put it in perspective, New Zealand's GDP for the same year was around $246 billion. This means that just a handful of companies amassed wealth nearly equivalent to the combined value of consumption, investment, public spending, imports and exports of the 35th wealthiest nation in the world at the time of this video recording. But unlike New Zealand, social media platforms didn't rely on ships, containers or infrastructure of any kind to fill their pockets. No, all they needed was this. This is a pixel. The smallest visual unit composing all the text, colors and images on your screen, from buttons and menus to photos and videos. But beyond the pixel itself, what drives these massive earnings is the attention users like you and me give to this pixel's content. According to Statista, the average user went from spending 90 minutes a day on social media in 2012 to 151 minutes a day in 2023. That's about a 40% growth, uploading, sharing and consuming millions and millions of pixels in different formats. The more attention we give to a social media platform's pixels, the higher its value and therefore its price. Social media platforms capitalize on the attention users give to their pixels by offering these spaces to businesses or individuals willing to bid for them. Thousands of auctions occur every day, and the highest bidder at a given moment gains the right to configure a certain number of pixels on your screen to capture your attention and deliver their message, aka an advertisement. In this sense, the social media business can be understood as a vast farm, using our interests, likes, and even our fears to feed us content that captures our attention. That's why social media platforms have developed a series of steps or methods from their inception to serve their users content that keeps them increasingly engaged. These methods, or series of steps that social media uses to determine what content to show users, is what we all know as the algorithm.
Okay, has anyone else noticed that your For You page has been a little too accurate lately?
Facebook's algorithm is being called into question.
On algorithms and how things work is similar at Twitter and
TikTok.
at TikTok.
But what exactly is an algorithm, and why is it so important for the business of attention, the business of social media? Well, from a computer science perspective, an algorithm is just a finite series of steps designed to solve a problem. It starts with a question and ends with an answer. This answer can be used to take an action or to feed a different algorithm to solve even more complex problems. And believe it or not, nearly everything you do in your daily life involves algorithms, from powering a cup of coffee to taking the bus. And for the case of social media, the question the algorithm is aiming to answer is, what content engages the user the most? To answer this question and succeed in the competitive business of attention, social media platforms conduct hundreds of experiments every year, tweaking their algorithms to get the best results. To give you an example, one of the first versions of the YouTube's algorithm was designed to promote videos with more clicks, but that had a problem, and it was that it led creators to produce clickbait. So YouTube shifted and started to promote videos with higher viewing times, but that didn't work either, as that resulted in low quality content being uploaded to the platform. After lots of experimenting, they found out that the key to engagement on social media was personalization. So they started figuring out users' tastes and preferences to offer them exactly the content they wanted to see, and sometimes even what they didn't know they wanted to see. This worked so well that highly personalized news feeds are now the norm on every social network. But how do social media platforms get to know us so intimately? To uncover their mechanism, a couple of years ago, the Wall Street Journal created bots to watch hundreds of TikTok videos related to different interests. And this showed how TikTok's algorithm starts by displaying diverse videos to discover user interests. Then it tracks user activity and reactions down to the smallest detail. How long does a user watch a video? Did they like it? Did they share it? Every user action is observed and compared to data from millions of others to create a precise profile of their preferences. When the algorithm finally has the needed information, it shows users more specific and extreme content to keep them on the platform for as long as possible.
What we see on TikTok is a bit the same that what we saw on YouTube. So basically the algorithm is detecting that this depressing content is useful to create engagement and pushes depressing content. So the algorithm is pushing people towards more and more extreme content so it can push them toward more and more watch time.
But how does this relate to the attention business? Well, this information the algorithm gathers not only adds value to advertising spaces on the platform by increasing engagement, but is also used to sell a highly profitable type of advertising called behavioral advertising. In the past, companies needed massive events or expensive market studies to learn about potential customers' preferences. But now with social media, businesses can create more personalized messages and deliver them to potential customers at a fraction of the cost. They can target individuals based on their specific interests, job situations, income levels, favorite brands, places they visit, and more. And this is possible thanks in part to the extensive tracking done by algorithms created by various platforms. And also because users voluntarily provide valuable commercial information on their profiles. By organizing this information, social media platforms can offer advertisers better returns on their investment. Now, don't get me wrong, targeted advertising doesn't have to be something bad on its own. But what's behind the attention business? What do algorithms hide? And why do some people believe they need strong regulations?
And very rapidly, I realized kind of the horrifying magnitude of the danger that we are facing. That Facebook's algorithms give the most reach to the most extreme and divisive ideas.
That when you maximize engagement, you end up just rewarding misinformation, hate speech, and salacious content.
Regarding social media, as humans, we strongly react to two types of content. The one we sympathize with and the one that makes us feel angry. In other words, the more extreme the content on social media, the more likely we are to interact with it, positively or negatively. From the social network's perspective, it really doesn't matter if we like the content or not. What matters is how much it engages us. This partly explains the success of content creators like MrBeast, who creates entertaining videos about extreme challenges that he delivers at a fast pace. Unfortunately, not all the content promoted by algorithms is harmless. For example, back in 2016, a man armed with a gun entered a pizzeria in Washington after reading online rumors that were spread by the algorithms about its involvement in a child trafficking ring led by Hillary Clinton. Fortunately, in this occasion, no one was harmed, but not all instances of inappropriate content promoted by algorithms have had such fortunate outcomes. On the other side of the world, in Myanmar, the Rohingya, a predominantly Muslim ethnic group, had to flee their country due to persecution fueled in part by Facebook's algorithm promoting hate messages against them. Social media platforms are aware of this problem and know that their algorithms will give greater reach to hateful or violent content because it's more likely to generate reactions and increase the time users spend on the platform. However, it's unlikely that platforms will adjust their algorithms to prioritize safety over engagement. Simply because, as I mentioned earlier, attention is at the heart of their business. Still, the European Union has recently announced its intention to review and ban many features of social media platforms that make them as addictive as autoplay, push notifications, and infinite scrolling. Whether these measures will be implemented and how they will affect the social media business is a question yet to be answered. But I believe, for the good of all, it's time to take the impact of algorithms on our society more seriously.